And Walter Cronkite, 50 years at CBS News.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. Finally tonight, a milestone for an American institution. He's still working, books, speeches, documentaries, but it was 50 years ago this week that Walter Cronkite joined CBS News and became the narrator and reporter for a half-century of history.
I'm just back from the biggest assignment that any American reporter could have so far in this war.
He came to CBS already a veteran reporter who'd covered World War II for the United Press.
Hello, everyone. Here we are again.
Just 2 years later, he was setting the stage for a new kind of television coverage at the 1952 political conventions.
I think that's the proudest moments I had in those early days, was to be able to pioneer television coverage of the political conventions and the presidential elections.
Give me in brief what you think is the major difference between the conventions of 1952 and the conventions of the 21st century.
There is no semblance between them except the presidential nominees' acceptance speech. They're really not very worthy, I think, nearly all agree, of coverage anymore.
This aircraft is executing...
From 1950 on, Walter Cronkite presided over an information revolution.
What are the hazards and what are our...
Taking cameras and viewers where they'd never been before.
This is the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite.
In 1962, he took the anchor chair of what was about to become America's first half-hour network news program. It was just over a year later when it seemed like the whole world stopped, stood still, and listened.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Change was in the air and on the air throughout his career. What do you remember the most about Dr. Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement that exploded and moved the country forward in the 1960s?
Well, you know, I think television had a major role in that, in our coverage of the civil rights struggle. When you could see that on your set at home every night, there was an embarrassment on the part of American people.
I have a dream.
When the spokesman for the cause stepped forward with his eloquence, particularly in that I Have a Dream speech at Lincoln Memorial, it changed the minds of Americans.
The space program captured his imagination, and from the first launch...
Looks like a good flight. Oh, go, baby.
...to the first step on the moon...
The Eagle has landed.
He was there.
Boy.
Okay, we're going to be busy for a minute.
When he gracefully left the CBS Evening News in 1981, he found his name was still center stage. Walter, over the years, I've always heard that, and I believe, that you've had any number of opportunities to run for public office. What were some of those, and why did you not do it?
Oh, Dan, I've had offers to run for everything from mayor of New York to senator from New York to president of the United States. I've turned it down flat. But let me tell you one of the things that has disappointed me most. Not one of those political delegations that came calling on me, not one of them ever asked me what I stood for. They've said only how easy it would be to get me elected, how cheap it would be, because everybody already knew my name.
Walter Cronkite, or as we always say around here, the great Walter Cronkite, thank you. Godspeed.
Well, thank you very much, Dan. And say hello to all that gang for me.
I will indeed. Walter Cronkite, 83 and going strong. We salute you.
And a television news milestone, Walter Cronkite's golden on-air anniversary.
This is the CBS Evening News with Russ Mitchell.
And good evening. Television history was made 50 years ago today when a newly hired journalist made his first appearance on CBS News. His name, of course, is Walter Cronkite. Walter's years behind the anchor desk and his spare moments on the open sea are tonight's Weekend Perspective. Now, your wife was telling me you had one boat, You went out to buy a smaller boat, but you came back with a bigger boat.
Well, we've been doing that for 40 years.
At a youthful 83, Walter Cronkite is still larger than life. These days, you'll probably find him on his beloved boat or hosting a television special. But this is how most of us remember him.
Good evening. This is the now free America. We could concentrate on trying to inform. There was no effort to entertain.
Walter Cronkite was a veteran war reporter when he was hired by CBS News in the summer of 1950. Before long, he was on the anchor desk. His first broadcast came on a Sunday night. Is it true that first night of doing the evening news on Sunday, you mispronounced your name?
Yeah, I certainly did. Everything was absolutely perfect. And finally, they did the final commercial. I said, I'll be back in a moment. I came back and said, and so this is Walter Cronkite saying good night.
Through the years, Walter Cronkite was on the front lines of some of the most important stories of the 20th century. There was November 22nd, 1963.
President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And his passionate coverage of the space program.
The Eagle has landed.
Boy.
Okay, we're going to be busy for a minute.
I can remember Apollo 11 when the Eagle landed. My father worked at a defense contractor in St. Louis that helped build,
Oh, really?
I guess, the Saturn V rocket.
Yeah.
And when the Eagle landed, he had a twinkle in his eye. And I watched you on TV when the Eagle landed. You had that same twinkle. What was it about the space program that was so close to you?
Well, of course, it was first of all, it was the major accomplishment. And particularly those of us, such as your father, have been working in it, those of us covering it, and I covered it from the very beginning. It was the sense of accomplishment after so much had gone into it, so much concern, so much doubt, to finally accomplish that incredible breakthrough was an emotional moment.
Walter Cronkite anchored the CBS Evening News from 1962 to 1981.
This is but a transition, a passing of the baton. A great broadcaster and gentleman, Doug Edwards, preceded me in this job, and another, Dan Rather, will follow.
I give him a tip of the Stetson and a big salute for staying power. But to have staying power and to have it with excellence and quality is a tremendous monument to Walter Cronkite.
The man who became known as the most trusted man in America also has a great sense of humor.
And a nice little old lady came up to me and she said, did anybody ever tell you that you look just like Walter Cronkite looked before he died?
Oh, boy.
I turned away to keep from laughing, and she said, except I think he was thinner.
In a congratulatory message, CBS News President Andrew Hayward says Walter Cronkite's efforts helped build and shape CBS News as a top-notch broadcast journalism operation, and we all owe a huge debt of gratitude to him.